Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is my reaction to my game week 3 predictions. Never a boring week in the Premier League, always so unpredictable. The fixtures this week were, they were just beyond unpredictable. There were some great matchups and I've not done very well. A lot of teams have proved me wrong. A lot of teams, I mean a few of them have, my FPL has been clearly showing why I'm predicting certain teams to win. But yeah, they were very difficult to call, and we're going to see how badly I did, and let's compare my predictions to what the actual results were. So jumping straight into it, first of all, Chelsea 3, Luton 0. I said 2-1 Chelsea, so I'm only picking up 2 points for that because of the Chelsea win. I thought this would be close. I thought it would be way closer than it was, but Chelsea just ran away with it. I didn't really know what to think of Chelsea after their first 2, because I thought they played decent in their first 2, but they'd only picked up 1 point out of 6, and well, that's like relegation form. So, but they finally got what they deserved after a good performance this time. I thought Sterling looked back to his best. 2 goals and assists, he was great. That Gusto from right back, he looks great. I think Enzo's amazing. Enzo and Caicedo controlled that game. I can't wait for, I mean, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I can't wait for Lavia to come in, put Enzo a bit further forward where Gallagher is, and then let Enzo dictate the play even more. I think he's such a good player. I know he went for a lot of money, but I still think he's just such a good player, and people are just gonna have to accept that those two, although how expensive they are, they're just great players. And yeah, I just think Chelsea are going to be amazing when that Lavia just gets put in place. And I mean, who knows what they'll achieve in the next few years. But in terms of Luton, I'm just waiting to see what they're like at home, because obviously the stadium wasn't reconstructed, so they couldn't play their game at home to Burnley. But as of right now, after the first 2 games I've watched, they've been demolished in both, and they don't really look like they can get anything going. But maybe in front of the home crowd, where it's a bit of a difficult stadium to go to, because it's a bit of a small stadium. They've like nearly back-to-back promotions, so they're not exactly the biggest of clubs, so they're not going to have a massive stadium, but we'll see what they're like. I reckon at home against big teams they'll be pretty decent, because it's going to be a hard place for people to go. But yeah, I get 2 points as Chelsea 1-2-1, 1-3-0, and I said 2-1. And then into the Saturday game to start off with, we had Bournemouth 0, Spurs 2. I got this wrong, I said 2-2. Again, I thought it'd be closer than it was. I thought Bournemouth would prove to be a much harder opponent. They looked decent in their first 2 games. But Spurs again have proved me wrong. I think I've backed them to I don't think I've backed them to win so far, and they've won 2 out of 3. So I need to start backing them more, basically, at the end of the day. They look the real deal under Postecoglou. I think he's a great manager. It's a breath of fresh air as well for Spurs. New manager, up-and-coming manager, no Harry Kane. They can finally move from Harry Kane. But it's fresh, finally something different for once. And yeah, Spurs look great. So I only get 1 point for this, as I got the correct amount of Spurs goals. But I will definitely start backing Spurs more, because I just think they look great. And Maddison really controlling the game. He's always been a great player, Maddison. He always deserved he needed a big club to come pick him up. I think it was looking like Arsenal for so long, but Spurs have picked him up, and boy, it's going to be one of the deals of the summer. So yeah, in terms of Bournemouth Spurs, I get 1 point. Then Arsenal Fulham, what on earth? What happened to Arsenal here? I think I remember saying in my predictions, Fulham will not get anything out of the game. I think I was going on about it so much. I said they'd be lucky. I'd be so surprised even if they came with a draw, and what have they done? They've come away with a draw. I was so confident Fulham would be unable to come away with anything, and they've proved me wrong. They were 1-0 up in 1 minute. And Arsenal, although they did recover to go 2-1 up, and then Fulham got a red card, so I thought, it's game over at that point. Arsenal pushed on and get a third. And then they bottled it. Same as last year. They kept bottling leads at the end of last year, and they bottled it again this year. Paulinho, it was a good volley, but I think Arsenal need to switch up. I think Arteta's He's experimenting too much. I don't like this party at right back. I want Arsenal to do it at the weekend because they're playing against us, but I think if Arsenal are going to succeed, they need to put Partey back in the midfield, put White back at right back and get Gabriel back in, and then they have the same defence as last year, and then an even stronger midfield with Partey and Rice and Odegaard. I think that's one of the best midfielders in the league. I just think Havertz needs to be dropped. He's not proving to anyone he's a good footballer. I don't understand how Chelsea have managed to scam us and Arsenal for Havertz and Mount. He should be dropped. Arteta needs to be ruthless. He's not playing well, so get rid of him. Not get rid of him, but drop him, bring him off the bench, and then start to prove that he should be starting. And then I think Arsenal will play better. That would be the team that, of course, Rice as well. That would be the team that only lost one of their first 19. So they've got to start replicating that. I know they haven't lost, but a draw against Fulham at home, you'd expect them to pick up a comfortable win. So in this one, I get 0 points because I've got nothing right whatsoever. Then Everton 0, Wolves 1. This was such a frustrating one because I said if anyone was going to grab a late winner, it would be Wolves. I said 0-0. I knew it'd be close. I knew it'd be dead. I decided to play it safe with a 0-0, and I should have gone with my gut feeling, the 1-0 Wolves win. But both teams look dreadful, especially Everton. I don't really know what to think. Everton have looked diabolical so far. They haven't even scored a goal. These two teams were the lowest scorers last year. It's going to be a similar story. I reckon they'll be the two lowest scorers again. Maybe Luton and Sheffield as well. But for this point, if with Everton, I generally would be surprised at this point. I know it's so early, but I'd be surprised if they stay up. I don't know. It's luckily Luton and Sheffield look pretty miserable as well, and we'll see how the fixtures between each other's go. But Everton look really poor, and again, another poor prediction from me, and I only pick up 1 point because I get the correct amount of Everton goals, even though it was 0, but yeah. Then moving on, Brentford 1, Palace 1. Another terrible prediction. I said 2-0 Brentford. I think it's mainly because I had Brian Mbeumo captain on my fantasy. I wanted to be different, not go for Haaland like everyone else did. I was trying to gamble, it didn't work out. It was a terrible decision. And I think that's why I went for a Brentford 2-0 win. I just wanted 2 goals from Mbeumo. It just made me feel happier. But yeah, this match was relatively close. I think Brentford did actually look like favourites coming into it with 4 points out of 6, home advantage as well. And now it's obviously going to play a big part. So they're pretty good at home. But Palace, they picked up a deserved point, and I can humbly say I got this one wrong. Maybe I should have predicted a draw. I don't know, but again, I get 0 points, and yeah, let's just move straight on. Manchester United 3, Forest 2. I said 2-0 United. This was so scary. 2 goals in 4 minutes at home. We were 2-0 down in 4 minutes. It's completely unacceptable. I'm glad we got the win we deserved, but 2 goals in 4 minutes. It's shocking. But luckily, we did dominate the game. We just had a poor start, and we got the deserved 3-2 win. It was a great comeback. Hopefully, it's a sign of better things to come. We've had pretty poor performances in the first 2, but then it was a pretty dominant performance I like from this one. It's similar to the Wolves when it started off, just Forest actually took their chances this time, whereas Wolves didn't. But luckily, we had that in us. We had that comeback in us, and we turned it around and we won 3-2. Rashford looked 10 times better off the left. He was involved in all 3 goals. He won the penalty. He got the assist for the first one, and he from that free kick, he whipped that ball to Bruno, who squared it to Casemiro. It just looks like 10 times better off the left. We wasted him when we put him up front. We just need Højlund back. Keep Martial there for now. Wait till Højlund. Hopefully Højlund's ready to start. Not this weekend, but hopefully. I know he's a youngster, so I don't want to rush him straight away, but we kind of need him to start. So hopefully he's ready for that. Fernandes was immense. My captain, what a player. He looks 10 times the player when Mount's not there. He's had more impact on the game. He can dictate the play better. It's just a beautiful performance from Bruno Fernandes. I love it. De Bruyne was talking about how he was Bruno was his favourite, or he did a top 3 with Odegaard, Bruno, and I can't remember Maddison, and he put Bruno top. Class recognises class. Bruno's just such a good player, overhated. one of the best midfielders, one of the best players in the league. I think you can say that. I feel like neutrals should be starting to say that as well. They just don't like his whinging, which I can understand, but I think that just shows he wants to win the game. But hopefully this win is a sign of good things to come. We can push on from here, but I only get 2 points, unfortunately, because I didn't expect us to have such a poor start as we did. But yeah, 2 points for that one. Then this one, I got this terribly wrong again. Brighton 1, West Ham 3. I said 2-1 Brighton. I don't think anyone was expecting this, and when you look at the stats, I don't think you would think that's a 3-1 West Ham game either. Brighton dominated the ball, they dominated the game, but West Ham were clinical. They took their chances, perfect game plan. David Moyes executed it perfectly. Simple as that. He took them briefly top of the league as well. It's good to see for West Ham fans. Back in David Moyes, which is good to see. It's just the same story for Brighton as previous seasons. They struggled to score goals. They've had plenty of opportunities in the past and they struggled to score goals. It's just been the story of Brighton for the past few years. Great team, well-run club, but there's lots of matches where they have so many opportunities they just can't finish it. And in games like this where West Ham are going to be clinical, can't do that. You've got to take all your chances. So unfortunately in this one, that is 0 points. And then moving on, Burnley 1, Aston Villa 3. I said 2-1 Villa. Finally, we've got a good one. We've finally got a prediction which is relatively close. I thought Villa would win this. They did. I thought it might have been a bit closer, but it wasn't. Matty Cash with a double. Great to see from a Villa perspective. But 3 points, finally we picked up some decent amount of points from a match, and it's good to see Villa doing well again, because after that 5-1 loss to Newcastle I was a bit scared for them because everyone's predicted them to do so well this year, but just straight away after that some great performances. 4-0 Everton, 3-1 against Burnley here, then they won 5-0 in the Conference League qualifier. So yeah, scoring loads of goals again. They turned it around and they're going to have a great season, as I said they would. And that's 3 points, correct amount of Burnley goals and a correct Villa win. Just couldn't, if I predicted one more goal, it would have been 4, but oh well. Then moving on, Sheffield United 1, Man City 2. I said 3-0 City. I thought the only option was a massive City win. I couldn't see Sheffield getting into this game whatsoever. It was a lot closer than I think everyone was expecting. Kyle Walker nearly cost his side at the end. I know he got the assist for the Rodri goal, but he nearly cost his side at the end with a little mistake. But City, it was inevitable. They were going to win. Even when it went 1-1, people probably expected them to win. City always win. There was no doubt. There was no doubt I was getting at least 2 points. I just wasn't expecting Sheffield United to score a goal, so I only get 2 points. But considering the fact I've been getting 0 for the vast majority of these, I'll take 2 points at this point. And then into the final game of this game week, Newcastle 1, Liverpool 2. Blimey, for God's sake. Nunes just decided to become the greatest player ever for a few minutes. I removed him from my fantasy, of course, before this game week. So he obviously had to become like a god then. And stop me from getting at least 2 points from a Newcastle win and all those points in fantasy. But Newcastle dominated the match. Van Dijk got sent off. Gordon scored. Trent made a mistake. Trent looked like he was going to get sent off as well. And then Alisson was just putting off some crazy saves. And then Nunes just became god and won in the match. Single-handedly, really. If Newcastle scored a second, the game was over, but they just couldn't get it done. And that is how Liverpool won that game. It's an amazing win for Liverpool, amazing, with 10 men against a fellow title challenger. I think this really cements them as title challengers, this win away from home against Newcastle with 10 men. I always said I think they'll be the biggest challengers to City this year because of Jurgen Klopp. Made some good signings. They're bringing in Gravenberch now as well, so it's another midfielder. Yeah, they're going to have a great season, and I don't know how much Klopp's got left, how much longer he'll stay there, but some manager, some team, unfortunately, as a Man United fan. But yeah, that wraps it up this week. In total, I wanted 25 points this week. I got 11. So yeah, terrible. We'll go again next week and we'll see whether we can do better. They were very unpredictable matches. You can't blame me. Some of these matches you wouldn't expect. I don't think you would expect Liverpool to come from behind with 10 men and win. You wouldn't expect Brighton to get battered. You wouldn't expect Forest to score. Well, maybe you would, but You wouldn't expect Arsenal to draw at home. You wouldn't expect it, but oh well, it is what it is. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you tune into my predictions for Game Week 4 tomorrow. And yeah, have a good one. Thank you very much.